All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Art Enable's first ever live event. We are very excited to have you join us tonight, and we are excited to show you some wonderful work and to have you participate in making some of your own work. Tonight's event has two main elements. We've got a gallery and exhibition tour, and we also have an art making workshop. Most of you know me, but my name is Tony Brunswick. I proudly serve as Art Enable's Executive Director. And we're excited to be able to bring you into the studio right now when it's a little tricky for folks to come in. We worked really hard on trying to create an opportunity this evening to share some of our recent efforts and our recent work, and to thank you for all your incredible support. This entire night is really built to thank our Red Dot donors who are so vital to the success of our work and for the support that we're able to provide the resident artists that are a part of the studio. That we have about 85 we have about 85 Red Dot donors, and collectively your contributions equal over $26,000 a year. So your support is incredible, and your time and commitment to this organization is greatly appreciated. And quite frankly, it's needed now more than ever. We're still working very hard to move through this challenging pandemic as an organization. We are still feeling the effects of it in many different ways. We've just come through the 1-year mark of having to temporarily suspend our on-site programming and quickly pivot and move to a remote services model so that we can continue providing support and professional engagement opportunities for the artists in our program. Fortunately, we were able to reopen our studio in a limited capacity in late October, and we were able to reopen our gallery as well, 1 day a week, every Saturday. So we hope some of you will be inspired and come check us out and check the work out some upcoming weekend. Once we begin the live feed, we're going to stop after each sections for some Q&A. So throughout the presentation tonight, feel free to put your questions into the Q&A, and we will make sure we field those questions before transitioning into the next activity for the night. So again, we're really grateful to have you. Thank you so much for being with us. I'm excited to turn things over to Marissa Long, our gallery manager and curator. Marissa's been with us for just over a year. She's come on board at a really interesting time for the organization, but she's done a fabulous job leading our exhibition activity through the past year, and we have a couple amazing shows that she's helped pull together for us that we're excited to share with you now. So I'll turn it over to Marissa.
Great. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Like Tony said, I'm going to give you a quick introduction to each of our 3 exhibitions, and it will be a fairly quick sort of tour. We're going to be kind of breezing through. I won't be able to stop at every work. There's a lot of really fantastic works that we're not going to see up close. So I definitely encourage you to check out the work more on our website. And like Tony said, please do come and visit us on Saturdays. And then additionally, on April 15th at 5:30, we're going to have a public virtual artist talk. So the visiting artists in these shows will be on that talk if you'd like to hear more about their work. Okay, so all 3 of our current exhibitions at Art Enables pull on similar themes of archetypal figures and symbols and storytelling. And then also for our 2 downstairs exhibitions, what we think for the first time, we think at Art Enables, those visiting artists made collaborative works with 10 of our Art Enables artists, which has been a really exciting process for us. And those collaborative works are on view in these exhibitions. So right now we're in one of our downstairs galleries where we have Green Archives on view. And Green Archives features work by 2 visiting artists, Laura Grothaus, who's a Baltimore artist, and Shelley Pico, who lives in Rockville. And Laura and Shelley in this exhibition are exploring themes of nature and storytelling through sculpture, video, painting, and additional 2D works made in collaboration with Art Enables artists Mara Clausen, Egbert Clem Evans, Deborah Green, Vanessa Monroe, Gary Morell, and Amani Turner. And the exhibition considers the natural world as kind of an index of living symbols that human beings have used over and over throughout history to tell and retell the stories that define us and kind of the stories that we use to understand our experiences. So to get started, I'll direct you to this beautiful triptych by Laura Grothaus called Red Ballad. And Laura says that she associates fairy tales very much with the color red. So she's painted a bunch of imagery from fairy tales, some of which you can probably recognize pretty readily here in this triptych. And then next to this piece, we have two collaborative works by Shelley Pico and Vanessa Monroe, and then Amani Turner and Laura Grothaus. So in the case of this top drawing, Shelley Pico started the drawing with this kind of grassy border, and then Vanessa Monroe filled in this amazing creature and this plant life in the middle. Vanessa is really fantastic at finding kind of exotic creatures that none of us have heard of before and putting them in her work. And then the reverse is true on this bottom drawing where Amani Turner, an Art Naples artist, started with these birds here and gave it to Laura Grothaus, who finished with these birds with these human faces. And next to that, we have another beautiful painting by Laura Grothaus called The Wild Inviting. A lot of lush layers here, bats, moths, and plant life, and some figures at the bottom. And next to that, we have a grouping of small sculptures by Shelley Pico called Relics. So Shelley'd been thinking about making some small rock sculptures like relics of a place of worship or like pieces of a cave drawing almost. And what I thought was cool about this is that in addition to some of the imagery she was already working on for these pieces that were images from nature, she also got really excited about the collaborative drawings that she was working on with our artists and started to pull in some of those images and themes to the work too. And in this area of the gallery, we have several groupings of work by Shelley. There's a group of drawings and a floor sculpture we'll look at in a minute. And then also in particular, there is this projected video piece behind me called Praline. And I have it paused right now so that you can hear me over the audio, but I'll unpause it in a second so you can see a little bit more of it. And I think it is best seen in person because when you're here in person in front of it, the alien figure is kind of, it's like life size in front of you. And, but you can also watch it on the website is what I was gonna say, if you would like. So in this video, there's kind of a cocoon that falls from this flower shape at the top. And the alien figure is sort of born out of it and stands up and looks around, and then it starts kind of praying in its own alien language. So I'm going to unpause this for you for just a second so you can hear a little bit of that. We will. Okay, hopefully you could hear that. So I wanted to share just a note about this piece that Shelley was thinking about a number of different things in this piece, but I thought one particular thing she shared was interesting that I'm going to share with you. She said, like a lot of people, I sometimes lie in bed at night and can't fall asleep thinking about everything I've ever said or done that I regret. So for this new projection piece, I envisioned it as something with an alien character with teardrop eyes being born out of a flower, and that I would scramble another monologue with a sung apology, listing and saying sorry for every aforementioned incident, which I thought was interesting and maybe kind of relatable. And so then the final alien piece that we have here on the floor is a sculpture by Shelley also called Paradise Well. So sort of like a little portal, a little well with stones maybe looking down, you can see there's a little alien figure here. And this sculpture, and actually all of the sculptures that Shelley has in this show, are made out of paper clay. So they're actually, some of them look really heavy and rock-like, but they're actually sort of light. They're made out of this great paper clay that she's then painted on and sanded. So moving along to this adjacent wall, you'll see 3 pedestals which each have one of what Laura calls her magic books. So in each of these, Laura Grothaus has kind of carved out the book and filled it with a number of small objects and little sculptures she made. And if we weren't in a pandemic, I know that Laura would love for you to pick these up and pick up the little parts and play with them. She thinks of them as being kind of like invitations to play, and also as if they're sort of magical objects that could cast a spell or part of a magical story. So again, here you have these themes of storytelling and kind of the idea of taking the component parts of a story, taking them out, rearranging them, and reimagining existing narratives. And then Courtney is also showing you above each piece, we have more collaborative drawings that the artist made with our Art Enables artists. So you just saw one by Vanessa Monroe and Shelley, and this one is by Laura and Shelley together. And then this piece here is a beautiful one by Laura Grothaus and Mara Clausen. Okay, moving along, we have a lovely little cloud or cluster of drawings here, some by just Laura or just Shelley independently, and then we have several drawings that are collaborative drawings with Laura and Shelley and our artists. So these two are by Deborah Green and Laura Grothaus and Shelley Pico. And then we have another one by Mara Clausen here that she made with Shelley. So I really liked seeing in this one, Laura made these sort of seed pod things, and then Deborah Green saw something different in it and turned them into this animal, which I thought was really cool. And then the final thing I want to show you in this gallery is this wall of collaborative drawings. So this is where all of the rest of the collaborative drawings are that you haven't seen already. And this was just a really exciting, fun, new process for our artists. It was definitely new for a lot of them, this idea of starting something with the intention of leaving room for somebody else to finish it, and then also getting work from someone else that was not their own original idea and kind of building on that and making it their own as well. Okay, so moving along, we can move into the next gallery to look at our other neighboring exhibition called It Takes a Village. So this exhibition has paintings by DC artist Eric Holden and collaborative drawings and paintings he made with Art Enables artists Maurice Barnes, Jay Bird, Dwayne Blackshear Staton, and Nanja Tiller. So Eric's paintings present a lot of collaged elements. They have a lot of collaging of figuration and different kinds of figuration. So he pairs a lot of kind of more classical figures in classical poses and sort of draped fabrics that you might see in a Renaissance painting with brighter, flatter, colorful, more recent cartoon characters that you might be familiar with. And even though these styles sort of clash, all the figures sort of play familiar roles. So again, here they're kind of archetypal figures from stories or just from human experiences. So for this painting in particular, this has the same title as the exhibition, It Takes a Village. And I know that Eric for this painting was thinking about his neighborhood where he grew up and how everyone there kind of looked after the kids. So he was just as likely to be scolded by his neighbor as by his own parents. So there's kind of this Pinocchio character who maybe stands in for a kid and all of these other figures watching over him. And then next to it is a collaborative drawing that Eric made with Maurice Barnes. So Eric painted this kind of niche arch area, and then Maurice filled this in with his own family, a group of people, family and his kind of signature style. So we can take a look over here also. The collaborative drawings are kind of peppered throughout. So this is a piece by Eric called The Worship of False Idols. And again, you can see characters from Disney movies. And also Eric is really influenced by Picasso. So some of his figures have sort of a more stylized Picasso-esque character to them. And then on either side of this painting, there are collaborative works he made with Jay Bird. There's a lot of movement in Jay's work and a lot of like really fun abstract stuff that he's added to Eric's drawings. And then So there's all kinds of collaging going on in Eric Holden's paintings. You can see several examples in this piece, not just the different kinds of characters, but also like he often has, he's pixelated the face or he's sort of scribbled it out. And then you can see this woman's arm and part of her chest are sort of more stylized again, like again, maybe Picasso kind of way. And also he's replaced in some places regular human arms and legs with more like robotic limbs like you see here. And we have another collaborative drawing with Eric and Maurice Barnes there, flying Pac-Man. In this piece, The Last Suitor by Eric, you can also see another element that he uses a lot, which is kind of this cartoony gloved like Mickey Mouse arm and hand that's often reaching into the frame to scribble on it or change it. In this case, it's kind of scribbled out this face. And here's a collaborative drawing by Dwayne Blackshear Staton of Art Enables and Eric. I love that one. Okay, and we have another work here paired with a drawing by Nanja. So I'm not going to touch on every single one of the rest of these, but we'll give a quick walkthrough so you can see. This piece here is called the dog walker. So there's like 5 different kinds of dogs in here. We even have a balloon dog. And then on either side, there are drawings that Eric made with Maurice that also have dogs in them. There's another collaborative work with Jay Bird here that I particularly like. And you can see in this painting called The Last Kiss by Eric, there are all the things we talked about are going on at once in this painting. Okay, so I think now we can head upstairs to our studio gallery. And yeah, we're sorry if this causes you any motion sickness. Courtney's trying to keep a steady hand here. So if for anyone who hasn't been to our space, it's such a fantastic space. We have 2 downstairs galleries, and then we're headed into our studio gallery upstairs on the first level. So this is our beautiful studio gallery. And this is where our artists work. This is where staff works. In non-pandemic times, this is where we have community events. So it's a really dynamic space. And it's also where we exhibit at all times, all Art Enables artwork. So this Art Enables exhibition is called Technicolor Archetype, and it pulls from themes of the other 2 concurrent exhibitions that we just showed you. So it's kind of asking viewers to consider the images as things pulled from stories or myth or dreams or like our collective unconscious. So here are a few works by Deborah Green, Max Posnerzon, and Imani Turner. Maybe kind of archetypal animals here. We can come and look at this wall over here. We have a little triptych of figures here. Paul Lewis's Mona Lisa, a painting by Sean Payne called Fabulous Nature Wedding. And this figure by Michael Schaff called That Man Over There. I like the way these 2 look next to each other. They have sort of similar look. And so our studio gallery very much coexists with our Art Enables artists and staff. So the work surrounds our artists as they work. And right now we're kind of walking behind staff desks to take a look at this wall of artwork. You're looking at a piece by Charles Meissner now. And this is Jay Bird's Perplexed Dog painting. And a work by Eric Atkinson. And Jamila Rahimi's The Garden. And this piece by Mike Knox, I was extra excited about. He was inspired after looking at Shelley Pico's website. He saw a little sculpture there that was like a little flower pot with a braid of hair growing out of it. And it made him imagine this scorpion made of human hair, which was a really creative idea for him. And I think it turned out awesome. And then next to that, we have Vanessa Monroe's work, her dancing tree spirits. Dwayne Blackshear Staton, and kind of a fairy tale piece from Sarah Swan, sort of like a little fairy house in the forest. Here's another piece by Maurice Barnes. You saw his work in the downstairs show too, with Eric Holden. A really bold flower from Jillian Patterson. Clem Evans, whose work was also in the Green Archive show. Charmaine Jones. I love this flying fish. Jacqueline Coleman. And then a sea beast from Sunny Clark. And that brings us to the entrance, the kind of the front of our gallery space. So we'll just come across here and take a look at a few final works. On this side of our space is where our flat files live. So we have hundreds of available works here in these flat files. And I really like this sequence that's on this wall, starting with Robert Corcoran and his masks. And then moving on to Raymond Lewis's Masked Superheroes. And then we have a colorful group of Sesame Street characters by Michael Haynes. And some flowers from Helen Lewis. And these are different subject matter, but her flowers in this case really remind me of the way that the figures look in Michael Haynes' work. I like those two next to each other. This one is by Mari Mara. A butterfly by Payman Jazimi. And a new piece that Toni Lane made for this exhibition. She was thinking about feminine archetypes, and this piece is called The Maiden, the Queen, and the Sage. And next to it, we have Lady Madonna by Gary Morell, whose work was also in the Green Archive show downstairs. And I love this elephant from Eileen Schofield. Dennis Quillen's Amazing Goblin. Nanja Tiller's Royal Cat. Nanja was in the downstairs show also. And then finally, this piece by Mara Clausen called Preparing for the Festival, this kind of bunny woman character. Okay, so that sort of concludes the look that we're going to take at the show. I don't know if there are any questions in the chat. We can try to answer those now.
One of the questions was if you could just speak to some of the mediums that were used downstairs,
sure.
Particularly the sculptural pieces.
Yeah, so the sculptural pieces that are all, well, the sculptural pieces by Shelley, which there was one we didn't even get a chance to look at, but the one you saw on the floor, the well, and then the little rock sculptures on the wall, those are all actually paper clay. She does really fantastic stuff with it. It's kind of, I think, a self-drying clay, and when it dries, it's very easy to sand and kind of carve into and paint on. So some of those things feel like heavy, like rock, and it's actually just this light paper clay. And then I think that for the books, Laura was using a variety of different materials. She was using some different kinds of polymer clay also, and just some found objects primarily.
What was it like for the artists to get to work together, since this is pretty new for our people?
Yeah, I don't know if they can hear. Yes, I'll repeat the question. So Toni said that somebody asked, what was it like for the artists to get to work together? And it was awesome. It was so inspiring and fun to see on both sides. Like I mentioned downstairs, I know that Laura and Shelley were very inspired by our artists, and they in fact changed some of the work that they had planned because of the pieces that they were seeing from our artists. And our artists were really excited too about learning about just the different ways that other artists are thinking about their work, and sort of having this prompt to think about particular themes and work together. And I think that they were extra excited seeing how their work changed and evolved and what happened to their work when they passed it off to someone else and then saw how they added to it. So all around, it was like really inspiring and fantastic, and we hope to do more of it.
A few more questions.
Okay.
How do artists name their work, and how do some of our artists who are nonverbal name their work?
So mostly our artists. So the question is, how do artists name their work? And how do some of our artists who are nonverbal name their work? So this is, I think it's a big range. The answer is there's a lot of, let me put my paper down that I'm wrinkling. The answer is it's a big a range. So sometimes artists just, they right away have the idea for the title that they want, and they just tell us what they want. Sometimes for nonverbal artists, we will be kind of talking to them about the piece and asking them, and we might ask, like, is this a person? Is this, what does this make you think of? And if they confirm that, that they're thinking about a particular thing in a piece, we will offer some suggestions that they then can either confirm or deny.
There was another question, if this work is available for purchase.
So another question is this work available for purchase? And the answer is yes, it's all available for purchase. I think there are a couple pieces from the visiting artists downstairs that are maybe not for sale, but yes, it's definitely available for purchase. And the best way to check that out is on our website. So you can see all of the price listings and everything there, and you can actually purchase the work on the website too. And if you have any questions, you can just email one of us and we'll be happy to help you out with that.
How long is the show up, and how can people see it in person?
Okay, so how long is the show up and how can people see it in person? The show is up until April 24th, and the best way to see it is during our public gallery hours, which is on Saturdays from 9 to 5. So we're open every Saturday till April 24th from 9 to 5. And then, you know, additionally, if you were not able to make it during that time, you could potentially contact us to set up a special appointment.
So there's another good question here. How do you choose the pieces for artist shows? For shows? Do you share themes with the artists, or do you review their works looking for common themes?
So the question is, how do we choose work for the Art Enables shows? Do we give the artist themes, or do we just sort of look at the work they have and pull themes from it? And the answer is both. I came on board, like Toni said, like just before the pandemic hit and just before we had to close and things had sort of changed. So if more of the artists were in the studio, I would much more often be prompting more of them with particular themes. I often am looking at the work that we have and kind of getting inspired by some recurring themes that I'm seeing. And then it, at the moment, is sort of a mix of existing work that we have from artists within those themes. And I'm also reaching out to artists who are working from home or some who are working in the studio to ask them to think about the theme and to make work for a show in particular.
And this is a question for you. What's it been like for you to come into this position now during the pandemic, but also now that we're starting to emerge?
Okay, so the question is, what was it like for me to come into Art Enables during the pandemic, and then also now that we're starting to emerge from the pandemic? And it's been, I mean, obviously it's been the craziest year for everybody, and it was a wonky time to come on board because I don't think I've done the regular job that I would do normally quite yet even. But overall, it's been amazing. It's super inspiring to work here. I love the team, I love the artists, and it's been fun helping to think about how to adapt things to keep people engaged online when people can't come in, and also finding ways to stay connected to our artists at home. And I do feel like I'm starting to get to know them, even though the artists a lot of them are working from home. And now that they're starting to come back, it's really exciting to be able to work with more of them in the studio. I feel great about that. Okay, so thank you so much. Thanks for your support. We love you guys. And I'm going to turn it back to Toni Brunswick.
All right, thank you so much, Marissa, for that incredible tour and for all of your work and effort pulling these shows together. It's really exciting to be able to welcome people back into the studio and to see work in person again and in this format. Prior to late October, the end of the year, all of our shows were online only. So it's really fun to see work on the walls again. So now we're going to transition to the next part of our event tonight, the art making portion of the event. So I hope everyone has some materials available and ready. You need a piece of paper and something to draw with, a pencil, a marker, watercolors, anything that you want. I'd like to introduce to you the facilitator for this workshop, Toni Lane. Most of you know Toni. Toni is a staff member here at Art Enables and also a resident artist of the studio. Toni is an incredibly accomplished artist. She's just all around an amazing, incredible individual. We are all immensely fortunate to get to work with her and to get to experience her artwork on a regular basis. If you haven't seen it, Toni was recently featured in the Washington Post just a week ago in the local section. Toni had several pieces of her work acquired by the Smithsonian, the Library of Congress for their growing COVID-19 collection, their collection to document the experience over this past year. And we're extremely proud of Toni. Toni is an incredible individual, and we are excited to have you participate in this workshop. So I'll turn it over to Toni.
Hello there. And thank you, Toni, for that great introduction. And thank you, Marissa, for that great tour of the gallery. I'm here today to do a little workshop. It's called mind drawing. And mind drawing is drawing with your eyes closed, letting your mind do the drawing, okay? I'm going to do an example. What I use is ink and paper, basic utensils for mind drawing. And in mind drawing, what we do first, while I'm soaking my brush in ink, is we breathe. We call it Bebo love. It's from a friend of mine in California. She does it when she works with her young people. And she has them breathe in and breathe out 3 times, like, and shake it off. Because we gotta get ourselves together, get our mind rolling, and figure out what we're gonna put on the paper. So I'm sitting here thinking about what I am going to put in this paper. And as I think, I feel the edges of my paper to make sure where my paper is so I don't draw off the paper because my eyes are going to be closed. So I don't want my pen to go all over there. So we fill our paper to see where it is. Yeah. Okay. So we get our tool and we're going to close our eyes. And use your right hand to hold the paper so you know exactly where it is. Okay, and now I close my eyes. And so when you want to make small lines, you do it easy, real easy. Just do it lightly. And if you want thick lines, you could press down. And it gives you some thick lines. And I don't know what I'm drawing. I'm just letting my mind do it. And then, wow, I heard some music. That's always good to have when you're working. Okay, so I think I'm done. So I open my eyes and see what I've done. Wow. You want to see? This is our foundation piece. And I would just hold it lightly because I don't want my ink to run. As you can see, What you can do at this point is you can stop, sign it, and say it's finished, or you can close your eyes and continue. I would like to continue. Okay. I'm trying to see, where do I want to start it with? Since I have my foundation there, what can I do next? Since I have a lot of paper up here, I think I might want to stretch my arm a little bit. And so I'm gonna close my eyes again. And here I go. Stretch my arm and come over and come over and do a little squiggly thing here and do that and then do that and then do that and that and that with your eyes closed. Okay. Now see what you got. Wow. So what we're going to do now that we've got all this is we're going to let this one dry. And just like the pies in the oven, we always have one that's already dry. No, we don't. I bring out a couple that's already dry. Here's a piece. Okay, you see a lot of them. And so now we're going to figure out that what we're going to do with our foundation. Do we want to add color to it? Or do we want to leave it as is? I would like to add color to it. So I'm going to use ink. Here's my little things of ink. Here's my brush. And this part we're doing with our eyes open. Excuse my sniffles. And you gotta figure out where you want your color. Like, I don't really want my color. I think I like this. And you're surprised what you can do with one piece of like that. You can also use color crayons. Well, crayons that don't have something that we could draw inside the lines. We use whatever tools that we have. You can use, it's not really good to use typing paper or copy paper because you can, it bleeds through. Okay. Now I added some crayons. Okay. And we have color pencils. And I think I like this area right here colored with the blue. Okay. And we're going to let this sit for a while. And then we're going to bring this back. Okay. And again, I'm going to use ink. You guys can use whatever you have. Crayon, ink, pencil. And I'm burning up underneath this light. So you have to excuse me. So we're going to try some red. And like I said, we're building our foundation. First, the black was our first color that we put down. Well, black is not a color, but you know what I mean. Okay. And I would like to use another color, like maybe some green. And this part, like I said, we're doing with our eyes open. Because you know where you're going now, right? Okay. And sometimes what Picasso say, 3 colors are enough. So I'm going to use one more color. It's either blue or the yellow. I really think the yellow because I really love the way this yellow looks. Okay. Y'all okay? Are y'all doing it too? Huh? So a little yellow right here. Just a little. Okay. So this is what I've created here. And one thing about this, what do you think? Hmm? Well, one thing about this, you can turn it any way you want and make it may look better this way, or maybe this way, or maybe this way. But in any case, put a frame on it, you all good. Now we're going to do something else. Put this over here. Now I'm going to, in my mind, I'm going to think of something to draw. I like drawing faces. So I will close my eyes, give a couple of breaths rather, and go for it. Got my eyes open, okay? I'm closing them again. So with my eyes closed, I've managed to make a face. Can you see? That's because I just thought of the face and I know what the face looks like. And so I just drew it. And you can do that also. And now that your eyes are open, you can figure out what you want to do more with your piece of art. And I've already figured something out. I might put another eye here. Maybe there's a little flower here. And a little sunshine here to go with the flower. So what do you think? You think this is something that you would like to do? Blind art, mind art drawing. I used to call it blind art drawing, but we changed it to mind art because actually it's mind art. It's coming from your mind. I would like to see some of your work, but I guess in this, we can't do that. Hmm. Yeah, if you like what I'm doing, tag us on social media. I said Art Enables, art-enables.org. And you can find me, Toni Lane, on Ethnic Trip Cultural Art, or Toni Bernadette Lane on YouTube, or Toni Lane on Facebook, and Toni Lane at Art Enables, Art Enables, where art works here. Okay, so. All right. So if you have any questions, I would love to answer them. Um, if you could tell me what you would like to see as far as Art Enables does as a workshop that you would like to be a part of, that would be a good idea too. So just call us, let us know. We're all in for some answers, especially during this COVID time. How can we please you? Mm-hmm.
How did you get started doing mind drawings? Can you repeat the question?
Okay, the question was, how did I get started doing mind drawings? And the short answer is, I don't know. I just know one day I just started drawing and I said to myself, I could do this with my eyes closed. You know how you say that? And so I closed my eyes and I drew. And then I drew some more. And then I kept drawing and I kept saying, this is kind of cool. And I even showed my grandchildren, I can draw with my eyes closed. And I drew with my eyes closed. And they said they could draw with their eyes closed. And then we started this drawing with our eyes closed. So that's where that came from, honest.
What mediums do you enjoy working in?
What mediums do I enjoy working in? Well, me, I enjoy all mediums. I enjoy oil paints, inks. You can see, I love inks. Color pencil. And matter of fact, I started using color pencil at the beginning of the pandemic because Art Naples gave all its artists color pencils and paper to work with while we were in lockdown. And so I did a picture in color pencil, and matter of fact, that piece was acquired by the Library of Congress. So you just don't know sometimes. So it's good to try all mediums, as many as you can, and see which one fits you.
There's a great question from Allison. What has art meant to you during the pandemic?
Oh, art. What has art meant to me during this pandemic? It has been a lifesaver. It has been a lifesaver because I had nothing to do in lockdown but make art and go to the refrigerator. Those were the two things I did. From the art table to the refrigerator, to the art table to the refrigerator. Then I try to get some sleep, but back to the refrigerator. But I like to, did I lose the question?
What has art meant to you?
Oh yeah, what has art meant to me? It has meant a lot because it's what I do. It's kept me strong. It kept me focused, and it's definitely kept me focused on the COVID-19 and what it was doing and how not to get sick. I followed the protocols, and I tried to, with my art, put those protocols into my art so people would pay attention to. And one of the paintings that the Library of Congress got was one of the first ones I did about not touching your face, wash your hands, and keeping your distance. And for the whole year, that's been my thing. Wash your hands, wear your mask, keep your distance.
How long have you been an artist? And when did you know? When in your life did you know?
Oh, I love that question. The question was, when did I know when I was an artist? When did I know that I was an artist? How long have I been an artist? All my life. My grandmother was an artist. My father was an artist. I'm an artist. So all my life. The reason I like that question is because when I was about 8 or 9 years old, my mother bought me this beautiful little pink dress, and I had a chance to wear it. I was like, finally, I get to wear this dress. And I was all dressed up. I had my hair dressed up. I had my big bow in my head and my pink dress and my black leather, patent leather tennis shoes and my ruffle socks. And I was good to go, but it's something I needed, my fingernails. I needed to paint my fingernails. So I went into my mom's room and I got her red dye #2 nail polish. And if you younger guys don't know about that nail polish, because it's off the market now, I think, but it doesn't come out of nothing. But anyway, I was polishing my nails and sneaking because I had no business in my mother's room on her dresser getting her fingernail polish. And I had it in between my little knees as I was polishing my little nubs. And I heard somebody come through the door and I jumped. And when I jumped, the fingernail polish fell into my lap. And when I looked up, there was my mother at the door. And she just looked at me and said, "And you call yourself an artist?" I was crushed and I was happy at the same time because parents can say some mean things, but she did. She was right. And I said to myself, she knows I'm an artist. I was so happy. That was one of the happiest days of my life, even though I ruined my dress. My mother didn't chastise me or anything because she knew how bad I felt about myself because I ruined my dress. But I realized my mom, she knew I was an artist, and that was a very good feeling for me. So that's when I knew I was an artist.
We have a question from Sarah Dunlap. She asked, how soon after the quarantine began did you begin to work on art inspired by this era and its hardships?
As the question was, how long after the quarantine began did I start doing my art. As soon as I got through my door is when I started drawing. I was scared because I never forget, it was March 13th was the day that we left Art Naples to come home for lockdown. And no, it wasn't the day. It was the next day because I went to the store for the first time. And in the store, I saw the empty shelves. And there was this woman there, this elderly woman, and she was standing there with with maybe 2 items in her cart. And she had something she was fiddling with in her hands. And I just looked at her and I looked at the shelves because never in my life had I seen the shelves at the supermarket bare like that. And she said, "I'm scared." And I looked at her and I said, "I'm scared too." And we parted. But when I went home, I drew that woman because that woman was also me, just standing there wondering what to do next. And the paintings I did with that the Library of Congress acquired, they really got a part of me when they got those pieces. They got a part of me because this was one scared chicken here. I was like, didn't know what to expect. And when I saw the store empty, I said she was engraved in my mind and I had to draw her. I had to draw her in those empty shells and her standing there and all like, what to do. So yeah, right when it started, I wasted no time. I just got my paper and my tools and I just started drawing. With using whatever mediums I had. Yeah.
There we go. One more question. When you create your mind art, do you try to quiet your mind or do you let your mind run?
Well, do I let my mind run or do I quiet my art quiet my mind? No, because my mind is never going to stay quiet. I'd stop trying. But what I do is I have art is gives me such a calming effect that my mind just relaxes. That's what the breathing helps. The breathe in and breathe out. It helps to calm the mind down because I'm rather kind of kind of fast thinker. And sometimes I want to slow it down. And art helps you slow that down. So yeah, maybe did I answer that question?
You did.
Okay.
Another question, does your emotion come through when you do your mind paintings? Like if you're happy or angry or sad, does that show in your work?
The question was, does my work show whether I'm happy or sad? I don't know. I really don't know. Because most of the times I work with art, I'm pretty happy. But there are some topics that are hard that make me sad, but they have to be documented. So, and COVID was a sad one. It was sad, but it had to be documented because it's very important in our timing right now. Yeah.
Mara asked, what kind of ink do you like?
I like Sumi ink. Sumi ink. We're not going to advertise, but it comes in this bottle like this. But I like Sumi because it's really black, and it covers very well, and it dries fast, and it doesn't come out of anything. So you can draw, like my top is Sumi ink. I drew this on fabric. See? And it's good it's definitely a good medium to use. Very good.
Another question, are you ever surprised at what shows up in your art?
The question was, am I ever surprised at what shows up in my art? I am always surprised. I even look at myself and say, Toni, you did that. Wow. Yes, I am surprised.
Okay, and this is the last one.
Okay.
Who are some of your favorite artists?
Oh, Romar Burden. Oh, who are my favorite artists besides Picasso? Romar Bearden rather. Oh shoot, Sam Gillian. I really love him. Talking about people. There's so many artists that are my favorite, but the artists at Art Enables are my favorite artists actually, because they kind of inspire me. They inspire me, and they make me feel real good about my art, and they're very honest with me, and I love working with them, and I love their art. I already told you where you can reach me. Let me see. Is there anything else? No, this was great. Okay, but I'm going to give this back to Tony Brunswick, our executive director, and who keeps me smiling. Okay, here he is.
All right. Well, this was a really great evening. We really appreciate everyone joining us tonight. I think we all need regular doses of evenings with Marissa Long and Toni Lane. Again, we want to invite you back to the studio. Sorry, my earbuds are falling out. And again, we want to thank our Red Dot donors. We couldn't do this work without you. We are so grateful for everything you do for us. Please hit us up on social media. We want to be doing more things like this. So if you'd like this, please let us know. And have a wonderful evening. We hope to see you here again soon. Thanks so much.